Hey everybody, welcome back to another Judgment commentary of Sword Art Online Alicization, but today we're going to be checking out the final 5 episodes of this season, episodes 20 through 24. But last time, Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh finally managed to make it up to Alice, and they had a bit of a kerfuffle, which didn't seem to end super well in their favor because Kirito and Alice got blown through a wall and are now just clinging to the side of the building. But at the very least, Yu-Gi-Oh managed to stay up there so he could move on to face the next challenge. And while he was doing that, Kirito and Alice had to work together so that they didn't plummet to their deaths, and in the meantime, Kirito actually managed to convince her that all of this stuff going on with the Integrity Knights and the Administrator is all a bunch of BS. She now believes him that all of her memories were stolen from her, even though she doesn't have them back just yet, and she has agreed to work with him to bring the Administrator down. In exchange, she wants to get to see her family one last time before her personality is overwritten by her original one. Honestly, a pretty sad circumstance, because this Alice, she exists, she's her own person, she's not the same as the original, and now she's just gonna have to get deleted when the original one comes back. But she's content with that. She just wants to see her family first. At least once. Meanwhile, Yu-Gi-Oh threw down with that hero of legend we had heard about, who was now an Integrity Knight, and honestly, Yu-Gi-Oh somehow managed to do particularly well against that guy. Not through sheer skill or anything, but, you know, in a usual protagonist-esque way, he just outwitted him, and was able to freeze him in place and pretty much declare a win. That is until this weird, short, fat little clown guy literally rolled in out of nowhere and decided to put a stop to that. Yeah, seriously, I don't know what that little dude's deal is. I mean, they treat him as if he's kind of supposed to be important. He seems to have a degree of, you know, sway in things, but why? He's such a weird, oddball character to just toss in just completely out of thin air like that, and I don't even really know what to make of him. So yeah, he showed up and he just teleported Yu-Gi-Oh to the Administrator's room, which you'd think that might be a stupid idea, but no. It could have easily been a stupid idea if Yu-Gi-Oh had played his cards differently, but, well, what happened was Yu-Gi-Oh crawled up onto the bed where the Administrator was sleeping, and he thought, well, I've got the knife right here, I could just stab her with it and we could be done, but he needed to save that knife to get Alice's memories back, so he hesitated. And in that moment where he hesitated, she woke up. He didn't even have a chance to run or really react in any way. She just woke up and started to, well, there's no other way to say this. She was seducing him. She decided to offer him everything that she was in exchange for everything that he was. And she convinced him to accept this offer by telling him that no one ever truly loved him. Just some good old-fashioned gaslighting. It wasn't even that she was saying no one ever loved him, which is weird. She was saying that nobody ever loved him because they never exclusively loved him, and that their love also was being sent out to other people. Therefore, their love didn't count. Now, he had echoes of people who did love him trying to tell him that that's not how it works at all, and that love is not this kind of thing that has, you know, a monetary value to it, that is a reward that can be claimed. But, well, Yu-Gi-Oh was within her grasp at that point, and it was too late. He let himself get caught up in her embrace, and she told him to just lower his mental protection so that she could, well, I guess just take his brain out here, and perhaps even turn him into an Integrity Knight. And that's where we left off, quite possibly one of the most provocative cliffhangers that I've seen in my entire life. But anyway, I think we've all waited just about long enough to see how Alicization comes to an end for now. I know that this whole Alicization storyline got split into like 3 different seasons, so we're not even close to being done here, but anyway, let's begin. Where to begin? Well, for starters, this is probably going to be a long video, but I know it's going to be a long video. But anyway, wow. That was quite the way to end part of Sword Art Online. None have ended quite like this, you know? they usually end with the dramatic victory where they overcome their twisted opponent and ride off into the sunset only to get dragged off into another thing 2 weeks later. But not this time. Not this time at all. Usually they go through every 24 episodes and then everything works out. Not quite. Even featured some pretty major character deaths with poor Yu-Gi-Oh! Gave his life to give them the push they needed to win. And, well, there was no happy ending to that. I mean, even when Kirito gets the chance to have a chat with the people on the other side, turns out they're under attack by those mysterious military people, I guess. I remember that someone rushed in and said, hey, we got a problem here, and I guess that's the problem. That this is happening. Man, that finale just had a lot in it, you know? It was so almost jumbled with a lot of things. Just Yu-Gi-Oh! Coming to the conclusion that he needs to make himself into a sword, and then they don't really talk about it much, but he seemed to take the memory crystal from the original Alice, and then through their strong connection was able to overpower the golem, which that was a pretty big win, I guess, although kind of defeats the idea behind, you know, Cardinal being like, I could never kill a human, and then, well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just wipes them all out. Because, well, as we know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has less of a problem killing people. He's never actually done it up until now, but, well, he would have definitely done it if given the chance. Yeah, it's kind of glossed over, isn't it? That just all those people, they're dead, right? I mean, they shattered the soul crystal that they were a part of. They're just gone. But then, despite that dramatic win, he couldn't defeat Administrator. No. He was able to take one of her arms off, and then she summons her arm back in and turns it into a sword to fight with, which, yeah, that happened. And thinking back, it looked like Kirito only went like pro-tag mode for like a couple seconds when we saw the yellow flash in his eyes. And then they weren't yellow the rest of the time, which usually they still are if he's fighting in pro-tag mode, as I call it. They're usually still yellow, but they weren't throughout all of the fight. It was only at the very beginning, which, that's a little odd. Still managed to win though, in admittedly pretty epic fashion. But it didn't end up being the most satisfying win for him because she decided to just duck out and then seemingly was kamikazed by little clown guy who somehow survived and all of his clothes disintegrated somewhere in the middle there. I don't know how that happened. Again, that just sort of was there. Last we saw him, hole through the torso, smacked into a wall. That guy just refused to be put down. That'd be a weird way to go, man. If she is dead from that would be a little anticlimactic. Seriously. Just escaping and then clown explosion. A pretty fittingly shameful end for one such as her, though, so I guess it's fair. I mean, that was her whole deal that made her stand out, is that she had this twisted perception of love. That her love meant to just control things. Because, well, yeah, she was raised when she was still human by really sick and evil people. We didn't get a lot of detail into how they were evil, but we knew that they were, and that instilled her with this kind of attitude. Oh, this was actually a lot to take in. Those last couple episodes, they felt a little long almost just because they had a lot happening in them. I mean, like I said before, Yu-Gi-Oh! Got 2 dramatic moments where it seemed like he was gonna die, and then only the second time he actually did die. And it was the much better moment, of course. It was a lot more heartfelt. I'm glad that he didn't actually die the first time when he gave him the red rose sword, as I'm going to call it, and instead got the more meaningful goodbye. But hey, as a whole, Sword Art Online Alicization thus far with this 24 episode bunch was pretty good. Probably not my favorite necessarily. It did do some pretty nice stuff, you know, here and there. Yu-Gi-Oh! Ended up being a very fleshed out character who got a very meaningful conclusion. It's a pretty unique circumstance. Usually when they set up the more fleshed out characters for the, individual arcs like this. They don't die, but he did die. But he ended up getting what he wanted, and he gets to be with Alice again, at least. One can assume that they're just gonna go into the digital afterlife. I mean, their existence is a weird thing because they are children born from individuals whose souls were digital copies of actual people's souls. So what does that make them? And hey, our antagonists at least had a lot more fleshing them out and going for them than some of our previous ones. A lot of the times in the past they seemed kind of blank, or were just outright creeps who were perving out on everybody. And she, I guess, fulfills the whole perving out thing a little bit, but in a very different way, and at least on her own has a lot more fleshing her out as a character. At the very least, I can say Sword Art Online Alicization thus far has been quite the journey, and it has been very unique from the other seasons. The execution definitely stood out on its own compared to a lot of the other ones. It seemed to have a lot more of a laser focus on where the story was going, and it makes sense that it would be like that because apparently they're going to continue it out even further. Like, Alicization, has 3 parts to it, I think, and it's all just one big thing that got split into 3 different seasons. So perhaps it's not even necessary to just go into an in-depth analysis because, well, we're not even done yet. So for now, I guess that's gonna be it, guys, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed, subscribe to be updated on more. That would be great. Next time, I guess we're going to be getting into the next part of Alicization, like a season 2 or whatever they're gonna call it. I think that's next, but I'm sure Sal can let me know about that. I'm sure there's plenty more I could be discussing about this set of 4 episodes here, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm tired and my brain is fried, so I'll be collecting my thoughts over the next month and isolating them into the beginning part of the next video. How's that sound? Good? Good. So in the meantime, let me know your thoughts on all of Alicization thus far, and of these episodes. Let me know what you thought about them. I would appreciate that. But as I said, for now that's it. So till we meet again, I will see you guys later.